Well, hello everyone. Good to see you again. So, my name's Maeve. I haven't posted in a while other than this one video. Um, but I thought I'd give y'all like a life update, and like a story time. I got kicked out and the cops called on me last week. So let's talk about it. So, as a little backstory, I decided to live with my Grammy, my mom's mom, and she was still living at the beach. So I went ahead and moved in I believe it was beginning of October. I don't think it was September. I think it was beginning of October. So I was there for 2 months by myself until my Grammy moved in on December 1st, I think. It was really fun, like living alone and everything, but I was excited for my Grammy to move in because we were best friends. We get along most of the time. We have a lot of things in common. So she moved in, and we did have a contract of like, hey, these are my expectations, these are your expectations, these are the responsibilities. But pretty much, I was not going to be paying rent, like in money. My rent was helping around the house and helping my Grammy. Most of my chores were like doing dishes, sweeping, mopping. That was kind of it, honestly, because I thought I would have to help her with a lot more things. Oh, taking out the trash, stuff like that. We did get in some arguments here and there about how I was not getting the dishes done in time. I did have some laundry baskets of clean clothes sitting in the laundry room for a while. Mind you, there were still boxes everywhere. There still are boxes everywhere and things that are not put away. So it was very chaotic. It got to the point where a couple times in the last month, she threatened to kick me out and find somewhere new to stay because I wasn't paying my rent, meaning I wasn't getting my chores done on time. Now, I do think a lot of that has to do with my mental health and having ADHD, being bipolar, having depression, all the things, which I wish I could blame it on all of that. I'm also not on my ADHD meds or antipsychotics right now, which is a whole nother story. But I think that was a big reason why it was so hard for me to get things done. And I think another part of it is the place I work at, we clean every day, all day long. So it's hard for me to work a 7-hour shift cleaning and then coming home having to clean up my space, my cat's space, and my Grammy space of things she made a mess with. It's just a lot. So today, it's January now. I don't know when I'll be posting this, but last week on December 30th, I had gotten home from being with my family around 5 or 6 p.m. and I just went straight to my room to see my cats and kind of relax. Sorry for the angle shift. My mom called, and I'm currently filming on my phone because I realized this microphone cannot connect to my camera. I will have that figured out at some point. But pretty much last week, December 30th, I got home from being with my family, went straight to my room just to put my stuff down and kind of like chill. And my Grammy was in her bedroom with the door shut. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to like have a chill night. I had gotten myself sushi that I was going to eat later. So I left it on the dining table. I don't know how much time passed between then and me going back into the dining room to eat my sushi. But it was maybe 30 minutes to an hour. And I was like, oh, I'm getting hungry. I'm going to go eat the sushi that I bought myself. So I walk out of my bedroom door, and my Grammy is kind of I think she was putting up Christmas decorations in the living room when I came out, if I can remember correctly. Because I wasn't really paying attention to her. I was I wanted my sushi. But so I walk out, I'm like, hey, and she doesn't even say hi. She just asked me this question. She says, what happens when someone doesn't pay their rent? And I said, why are you asking? And she said, what happens when someone doesn't pay their rent? You need to answer my question. And I said, why are you asking? Because duh, I know what happens. I pay rent. I have paid rent before. I used to rent apartments and stuff. So I was like, that's kind of a dumb question to ask me. Like, what does she mean by this? She got upset with me because I wasn't answering her question, but she wasn't answering my question of why. I said, I'm not going to answer until you tell me why you're asking me this. Because I knew it was some kind of game she was about to play. And I'm not doing that anymore. So I said, I'm not going to answer that question unless you tell me why you're asking me the question. So then I walked to the dining table, started opening my sushi, and my Grammy came towards me, got about this close to my face across the dining table from me. And this is when I start to lose, I lost some of the memories. So I'm going to try my best to explain what went down. I do remember her getting in my face and yelling something at me about rent and how people who don't pay their rent get evicted. And I was like, so are you kicking me out? And mind you, the reason why, I think the reason why she said all this that night was because I had a box of Christmas things in front of my bedroom door. I also had a big laundry basket full of clothes outside of my door because she wanted me to put it away because it was in the living room and she didn't like that. And so I was like, okay, then kick me out. Thinking she wouldn't, because she's been threatening me for weeks. And yeah. So I did say that. And she said, no, she didn't say that. She said, you need to leave this house tonight. And I said, what if I don't? Maybe I shouldn't have said that. But also, the townhome wasn't even in her name. It's in my mother's name. Her daughter's name. So she can't kick me out anyway. So I was like, no, I'm not leaving. What are you going to do about it? So she's like, I'm going to call the cops to get you out of this house. And I was like, oh, shoot. Like, but I did say, I said, okay, call the cops. Because also, they can't do nothing. They cannot kick me out of my mom's house. So I was like, okay, go call the cops. She starts running to her room as fast as those little legs can go. I started to get a little bit freaked out because I was like, oh shit, she's actually going to call the cops. I'm not a big fan of the police. I'm also not on my medications, so I don't want them to think I am this crazy person and they're going to send me to the hospital again. Like, no, I was not for that. So I tried to call my mom. Her phone wasn't working, so I called my dad and I was like, Grammy's, this is when I started crying. I was like, Grammy's calling the cops on me. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. And he was like, just calm down. Tell the cops what's going on. They can't kick you out. So I was like, okay. I stayed on the phone with my dad this whole time. So I ran to my room because I was trying to get out of there before the cops pulled up. Because I'm just not comfortable around cops. And I didn't want to interact with them. Because nothing serious was really going on. She was just telling me to leave the house. Like, nothing else. I ran to my room and started to pack up my cat's food and their litter box. And I got my bag that I bring everywhere with me. I bring it to work. I bring it everywhere. It's just got, like, some of my medications and, like, chargers and stuff like that. This is when I don't remember anything except I kept saying out loud, like screaming, crying, saying, it's okay, we're gonna be safe, we're gonna be okay. And what I told my therapist was that I knew I was saying these things to my cats because they are my entire world and I will do everything I can to keep them safe. But I think subconsciously I was also telling myself that kind of as like a coping strategy. So yeah, I'm doing that and trying to, I brought my cat's food out to my car, put it in my car, ran back in to get the litter box and saw that my Grammy was on the phone with my dad. And I was like, put it on speaker because she was like, well, do you want to talk to him? I was like, I've already talked to him. Put him on speakerphone so I know what you're saying to him because you don't need to be talking about me behind my back after calling the cops on me. I'm just not okay with that. And she didn't, and I was told by my dad that this is when I started raging at my Grammy, which I have no recollection of doing. I have told my therapist in the past that, like, when I am angry, it feels like a whole nother person is taking over my body, and Maeve kind of blacks out and eventually comes back into my body, and yeah, it's a really scary, crazy experience that happens to me sometimes. But that's what was happening at this point. So I ran back to my room, screaming, crying, having one of the worst panic attacks that I've had. I don't know if it was the worst, but it was definitely up there because I have been kicked out before by my ex. I was bringing out my litter box to my car, set it on the ground so I could open the back door. This is when the first 2 cops pulled up. And I got on the phone with my dad and I was like, Dad, the cops are here. What do I do? What do I do? He was like, just tell them what's going on. You can come over to our house. The only people that were at my family's house was my sister and her boyfriend. My parents and my brother were in the mountains for New Year's. So I was freaked out because also my parents weren't here to come help me. One cop gets out of his car and comes up to me and he's like, I'm like, hi. And he's like, what's going on? So I told him what was going on and that me and my Grammy had been arguing for the past month or since she's been living there. I was like, I'm leaving. I am scared to be here. And he was like, what else do you need? And I said, I need to get my cats. That's the only thing I care about right now. I need to get my cats. So he was like, okay, let me, and then 2 more cops pulled up. And so it was this cop that I was talking to and one more cop that came out of his car. They were like, okay, we're going to go tell your Grammy to go sit in the kitchen or the dining room area so that you have a pathway to get to your cats and bring them outside without you having to interact with your Grammy. So I was like, okay. And my Grammy sat in the kitchen and I ran in it took me 5-10 minutes to get both of my cats in their carriers because they were freaking out. They were hiding under the bed because there was a lot of loud noises from me going on, screaming and crying. My Grammy was yelling. They were scared and I wanted to get them out as fast as possible. So when I finally got my cats, I ran and put them in my car. I was still on the phone with my dad and my mom had joined the call as well. And my mom wanted to talk to the cops while I was still there. So she was asking, like, is this gonna, be on my record or whatever? Like, because she didn't want my life to be ruined, you know? And she also told the cops, like, this is in my name. It's my house. And she was like, is my daughter being escorted out of the house or is she voluntarily leaving? And me and the cop both said, I'm voluntarily leaving. And the reason why was because I was so uncomfortable. I was scared. I was traumatized, honestly. It brought up past trauma and I just needed to get away. My mom was like, okay, well, you drive to our house, get off the phone with me while you're driving. So I got off the phone with my mom, got in my car, and I was about to pull off. I asked the cops if I can leave. They were like, yeah, of course. Like, you can go. We're going to stay here and talk to your Grammy for a little bit. Close my car door, and I'm about to drive off, and my Grammy is, like, calling me over and over, and I keep declining. So I told the cops, I was like, my Grammy's calling me as she's sitting in the dining room table, and I'm trying to get out. I don't know why she was trying to call me or what she wanted to say, but the cop said, just don't answer, and you're good to go. So I was like, okay. And the first cop that I talked to, he said, before you go, your Grammy told me to tell you that she loves you. And I just sat there, well, yeah. Somehow I was standing outside of my car when he said that. I really, like, the memories are all jumbled up. And I just stood there crying, just shaking my head. I didn't say anything back to him. I did not feel loved. It just felt like a bunch of bullshit to me. And I was like, I'm leaving. I told the cops I'm going home. Home meaning my family's house. And I got my car, and once I got out of the neighborhood, I called my mom to tell her like that I was leaving. She had to go because my Grammy was calling her, and my mom wanted to be part of the conversation with my Grammy and the police. So I ended up calling my dad on my way home because I couldn't listen to music. I didn't feel safe in my own body and brain. And I asked my dad if he would just stay on the phone with me until I got to his house and saw my sister and her boyfriend, and he did. And he sat in silence, and I was just screaming and crying because I didn't really know what to say either. I just did not need to be alone, because I feel like if I was alone on my way home, I probably would have done something bad. So I'm glad I had somebody to talk to or just have on the phone with me, because that would not have ended up good. So I get to my family's house, and my mom and my brother are pulling up now. I'm gonna have to tell them that I'm filming a video in my car. My brother might come up to the window. We'll see. Anyway, so I get home, and my sister and her boyfriend put an air mattress into my old bedroom, because I lived here with my parents after college for a year and a half. So I still had a bedroom. My sister had just put some of her furniture and clothes in there. So they put down an air mattress, and I was like, I need water. I can't breathe. I'm hyperventilating, still having a big panic attack. I was just trying to get water. I was trying to get my cat's things up into my new room and get them water, because I knew they were freaking out. So yeah, I did that, and then I was like, oh shit, I left two of my psych meds at home, or at my Grammys. And so my sister and her boyfriend went over to go get those medications because I needed them. And I was like, I can't be alone. So I called my dad again. He stayed on the phone with me for the whole 30 minutes they were gone. And I was just sobbing and screaming still. It was about 3.5 hours of me crying and screaming nonstop. I mean, my throat was hurting the next couple days. Yeah, they finally got home, and, I called my manager telling her I don't know if I can come in tomorrow. I don't even have my clothes. The only clothes I have are the ones I'm wearing right now. It was just so scary. My mom the next day decided on New Year's Eve to come back home, so that I didn't feel as alone, and so that I didn't tell her this, but I really thought I was going to hurt myself, and so having my mom there, I just thought would be a better thing, so that if I needed to go to the hospital, I had someone to bring me, and someone that knew my information, which was the last thing I wanted to do, because I've been hospitalized before for my mental health, and it was awful, but that's a whole nother story. So yeah, since last week, I'm still at my parents' house. My dad and his friend brought my bed and my mattress over, so that's about the only furniture I have right now. My cats are more calm, they seem to be happier now that all that's over, and I've decided for now I'm not going to be moving back in with my Grammy, because I don't think it would go well, because and I don't think she even wants me to come back, because she's sending my things back when my parents go over there to help her with different things. She's like, take this back, and so I'm getting my stuff back already. It doesn't seem like she wants me to come back. She's texted me a couple times saying she loves me and to come visit her. I have not responded. I don't feel comfortable talking to her right now, especially until I get my antipsychotics back in my system. I am going to be staying with my parents until I have the funds to find my own place with my cats. The plan with my Grammy and speaking to her, she was supposed to come to a therapy session with me actually tomorrow. I'm not going to be doing that anymore with her. I'm going to be going by myself. Told my mom maybe in the future, me, her, and my Grammy could have a therapy session with us three. But I told her I don't know when that's going to be right now because I still need time to process everything and feel what I need to feel. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now. But I wanted to just share a little story time about what's been going on. And I don't even know if I'm going to post this, but I think talking about it kind of untangles the yarn of memories and feelings from my brain. So yeah, if y'all want more videos from me, like, let me know because I do want to start getting back into YouTube. It's been a couple of years, so I might also try to stream on Twitch sometimes with my little brother. But yeah, we'll see. If you watch this whole thing, thank you so much for watching and for hearing my story time. I hope you're all doing well. And I'll see you guys sometime. Bye.